You are watching Access LaPorte County Channel 97. Coming up next is the October 7th meeting for the LaPorte County Parks and Recreation Board. You can find more information for this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
Yeah. So, okay, I'd like to call the LaPorte County Park Board meeting to order. Can I have a roll call?
Michelle? Here. Jesse is absent. Jim?
Here.
Mike?
Here.
Ron?
Here.
Nick?
Here.
And Mary now. Here.
Okay, let's go ahead and stand. Second pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, did everybody have a chance to look at the minutes? Yep. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
And a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Minutes from last meeting. Any questions about that?
That last one was the agenda.
Oh, the agenda.
Yeah.
Okay, this is the minutes. Yeah, we'll have minutes next time. Okay, minutes of the last meeting. Can I have, does anybody have any questions about those? Hearing none, can I have a motion to approve the minutes as written?
So moved.
And a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Public comment. Don, Steve, anything? You're good, okay. No public comment. Financial report, any questions about the financial report? It looks like we're winding down for the year.
Yeah, so this is pretty typical for those that are somewhat new. We typically always are starting to run short on a lot of the accounts. We have money in our non-reverting. We've done well with our rentals and things this year, so we typically start paying for a lot of things out of that. There is some money here and there that could be used, transferred around a little bit if we need to use that, to do that. But all in all, we're in pretty good shape, and like I said, the non-reverting account is, I don't have the exact numbers yet, but we're running about similar to what we were the past years, but we did raise our rates a little bit because of some costs that we were going to incur without the caretaker anymore and things like that. So I think we're going to be in pretty good shape for the year.
Okay. Can I have a motion to approve the financial report?
So moved.
And a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Ayes have it. Jeremy?
Okay, so start off with the Bloom DNR project. You've got a little bit of a PowerPoint presentation here that we gave to the commissioners at the last meeting, at their meeting. So I wanted to talk about this so anybody watching from the public would be kind of aware of what's going on, and of course you guys. A little bit of project background. So Indiana Stream and Wetland Mitigation Program is who purchased the 43 acres, and it was a dual closing. So basically the money came in, bought it, and gave it right to us at the closing. So that 43 acres is our property. But they are doing the work. They are coordinating all the work, working with the, I'm involved, but working with the engineers and consultants and all of those people. They're setting all that up for the stream and whatnot work. So the overall project, it's going to basically take the existing, what we're calling an existing stream. It's more of a ditch at this point. It was a drainage ditch that was deregulated, and they're going to take that heavily channelized stream or ditch and turn that back into a flowing stream with more fall and more flow, instead of water that is, during the dry times just sitting there breeding mosquitoes and having a lot of stagnant water. So that would to give it more of a natural stream alignment, it is going to be going out in one area back to where you could still see where the stream actually flowed many years ago before it was channelized. It would improve the stream gradient, but the one thing I wanted to stress, and the reason I wanted to share this up front, is there is going to be some tree removal, and not just a tree or two. It's going to be, they said it's going to be around 200 trees. Now, they're not, most of them are not big trees. We're talking 200 trees. Some of them may be that big around, as big as your thumb. Some may be as big as my arm, and there'll be a couple of big trees, not a lot. But it's not, I want to stress to the public and to everybody that it's not going to be pretty out there during construction.
Oh, sure.
You know, this is a place that has a lot of spring and some
Yes.
wildflowers and
Yeah,
stuff, so it's going to affect that for the short term.
Sure.
In the long term, they're going to be planting, they're going to be replacing trees 4 to 5 times the amount they take down. So it's not like they're going to be taking 200 out and not replacing it. They're going to be putting in probably 1,000 trees.
In the same wooded area?
Or so what the trees in the stream bank that they have to take away are in the bank, and they're going to have to take those out.
Yeah.
They won't be putting trees right back in
No.
that area, but they will be putting trees, yes, in the wooded
woods.
area to try to diversify that area,
Okay.
plus some out in the
Good.
open
Good,
ground.
yeah, because it seems densely wooded.
Yeah, it is densely wooded, but it is mostly silver maples and it's bottomland stuff, and there's not a lot of diversity. So,
Okay, great.
so if you look at that map, the tree removal is limited to that light blue along the stream. They're not like going out into the woods and just taking trees to take trees. It's just that light blue area. They'll be planting 10 native species of trees and shrubs, and like I said, replacing them at 4 to 5 times the amount removed. So if they take out 200 trees, you're looking at getting 800 to 1,000 trees. Now that's not, they're not planting big trees, they're
Right.
planting little ones, but they also, they will be taken care of. It's not like they're gonna put them in the ground and walk away. The DNR is tied to making sure that they're successful and not just walking away from the project once it's done. There's actually money left over in this mitigation program for making sure to keep the invasives out and, making sure it's successful, whether it be the native seed mix they plant out in the prairie area, the open areas, or the trees. So the next slide talks about how the tree removal is minimized to the least extent possible, so they're not just removing trees if they don't have to. And then there's trees and native seed mix will be planted after construction. And they have a few pictures there of some previous projects that they've had on that. And then facilitate stream restoration and meandering. That's just talking about, making that stream more of a meandering stream instead of just a straight shot. Then they have a slide there with some samples of the stream restoration. Kind of hard to see on that, but I will send you this presentation as well. And this one, the next slide is a 7-month post construction, KCI Technologies. And then the next slide is showing kind of what's going on during construction. So there'll be big equipment in there. It's going to be another reason why it's not going to be pretty. There's going to be some collateral damage, but they are going to be planting a lot of native plants, shrubs, all of those kind of things back in the area to restore it. So what I would stress to the public and to you is that think long term here. You're going to go out there where you've hiked for many years, and it's going to be like, what are they doing? But we are also going to put a information board out beforehand and during construction, so people can have our number to call us if they want to complain or question what's going on, but also kind of explaining what we're doing and explaining that this is a long-term project, not just, short.
So what's the timeline on that?
So trees will probably start being removed. They're gonna be marking those soon, and they're gonna probably doing that this winter.
Okay.
So the construction then would start next year and probably be finished up within the year. So, but the trees can only be removed when the bats are, the bats are migrated or, they're not.
Oh, that's right,
Yeah,
that's right.
so you have
Yes.
to do that at a certain time of year. So.
Right. And if you think about what happened to Lure with the storm damage and when we logged that, it looked pretty gnarly. Yeah, this might be a little bit more gnarly, but it will have the same result when it's all done. And it'll even be better.
So, like I said, I want to be upfront and tell people it's not going to be pretty. I know it's not going to be pretty, but it's going to, neither is that ditch that's there.
Oh, yeah.
One of the questions I think Commissioner Hollifield asked at the meeting was, is that going to affect water upstream for farmers upstream? And the way they design it and everything, they can figure out how much water's, flowing through there and how much water is going to be slowed down and it should not affect anybody upstream. That's why they purchased the wetland next to it and, go through an extensive design process to make sure that's not going to be the case, so. Any other questions on that?
It sounds like since it's starting in winter, because I'm thinking, is it possible to salvage any of the native plants? But it's, since it started in winter,
It's
you're not
gonna
gonna
be
see
winter.
anything, and then it's gonna,
Yeah.
you're not gonna know where things are. and
Right,
stuff.
right. Now, that might be something to talk about in the spring with, once the design is shared with us and stuff and see if, if they're not really doing construction until spring or summer when it's drier, maybe. I don't know when the timeline of actual stream construction and wetland stuff is, but that's a possibility that, if they're gonna be in there tearing up, a lot of the trilliums and stuff like that, is it something we can have some people come in and salvage that
Yeah.
and move them or whatever, maybe.
Okay, thanks.
Pioneer Days wrap up. I gave everybody a list of, so we had 1,895 people. That is nowhere near our record, but I do think what we're.
A lot of people.
Yeah, that's a lot of people. And when, at times, the parking lot and the grass areas were completely full, so it's not like we could have a lot more people. I mean, those that came and helped, it was busy at times, right? So, but I think what's going on and what I've seen over the years is it just seems like there's more and more festivals and more things going on, especially in September, and then it's even on that weekend. And people are, they go to stuff almost every weekend, and used to Scarecrow Festival's going on the same weekend and that kind of thing. So it's still a good number. We get when we get to going way lower than that, I think we need to start really thinking about, if we keep doing this event, right? So last year it was up about, I think, 300 from last year, so I mean, that's a pretty good amount. Last year had good weather, so I don't know what the difference was. They were both good weather.
So this is 300 more than last year?
Yeah, 300 more.
Okay.
There was it was like, I want to say right around 1,600 last year. And it was, I mean, very similar weather, perfect, that was really nice that weekend, so. But there's your totals. Grand total collected was $7,677.54. So the donations go to the Park Foundation. The Park Department revenue ended up being $4,790.80. And then below that is all of the expenses. So you'll see one of the things on the back side of the that I put was the Draft Horse Association for the wagon rides charged us $1,000. I think we brought in $1,001. What we brought in on
Big
that.
profit.
But they did say that they wanted to talk to us about next year, because what I had heard was they typically are charging $250 an hour now. That would be $2,000 for our cost. I think we're gonna have to start looking at maybe getting sponsors for this event if we wanna keep it affordable to the people and that kind of thing.
I'm sorry, I caught, you said that, you're looking at getting what?
Sponsors.
Thank you.
Yeah, a sponsor, to maybe sponsor the draft, the horse, the wagon lines. We talked about maybe just doing tractors, but it's different. Everybody
yeah.
loves the horses.
Yeah.
And I think we can probably find some corporate sponsors maybe to help us do that. So if anybody has any ideas on that, I think we've come up with a couple already that might sponsor at least part of that.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yeah,
For the horses and wagons, you might reach out to Steve Lozinski from Keystone Co-op.
okay,
And I know he's big into draft horses and fair. He might be able to do a little Keystone.
okay. I'll make a note of that. Thank you. Yeah, so that's the one thought I had. You know, we could always talk about raising prices, but I want it, it's never been about making a bunch of money, it's more of an event for the community, right? So we're not necessarily hurting, but I definitely don't want to lose money, and then when we have a down year, we could potentially lose quite a bit of money, so I don't want to do that either. So, the foundation has been good about helping us buy some of the supplies and things like that. So the costs that are involved here, some of those were foundation costs. And you know, anyway, that's where we're at with that, so.
But it's just $2 for a carload, right?
No, per person.
Per person, okay.
So, yeah, so it's $2 per person to come in, and then they pay $1 for the wagon rides, $1 for the candles, $1, so it's cheap. But, you know, a family of four still, you know, they're still gonna be spending some money there. And, you know, like I said, we keep our costs way down, and like the ham and beans and the popcorn and all that is all donation. And they pay for themselves and then some, so it's not like we're, you know, losing money on those. There's not much that we're losing the money on, but it's very close.
Yes.
So, but if we had a corporate sponsor or two,
Yeah.
I think it would make it to where, you know, it would make it very doable to not worry as much about whether we're breaking even or making money on it. So.
Thank you.
Creek Ridge disc golf improvements, still working with Brandon on that now that Pioneer Days is out of the way and slower times are coming for the winter. I think we can really start hammering away at that, and I think we'll get some good numbers. I have some numbers, costs of baskets and those kind of things, but just not some of the other type of stuff yet, just haven't had time. So, maintenance and construction report, Don's here. I don't know if he wanted to say anything, but they were busy getting ready for Pioneer Days and those kind of things, and so that's a lot of shuffling around and setting up and things like that. They did, always did a great job with that, so, but yeah, we're doing, kind of going into this little bit of the slower season, but we're also losing some employees, you know, seasonal employees, so our guys end up mowing and doing things like that when to make up the difference. One thing I did want to mention is Shannon, who works, the part-timer who works in our office, she's actually leaving us after next week. So we're going to be looking for a part-time person in the office. Typically, we've had her work from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., and I think we're going to change that. I think we're going to try to get somebody that can work like 11 to 3 instead, because having somebody there to close down if one or both of us are not in the office will be good. And also, it just seems like our busiest time is, you know, between 1 and 2 or 1 and 3, and so that kind of thing. So we're looking at not changing the office hours anyway. Those are still going to stay 7 to 3, but you know, possibly having that person help us cover that afternoon a little better. So, but if anybody knows anybody looking for a part-time job, friendly person with, you know, that greets our people when we come in and let us know. And that's about it for the superintendent report.
Okay.
Standing committees, the executive committee does not have a report. Budget committee?
I sent the budget out. We did finally, I shouldn't say they did finally anything. They got the approvals for budgets. And pretty much everything we asked for, changes, moving money around and stuff, they approved. They did approve $6,000, right around $6,000 in overtime budget, which we've never had an overtime budget before. I asked for that because we lost our we don't have a caretaker anymore, and they took care of the weekends now. We shifted one of our seasonal employees to more of a part-time employee, and he's gonna do most of the weekends in the winter and that kind of thing. But if there's a big snow and our guys have to come out and plow, and or if there's a tree down or something, basically I was forcing them, we were forcing them to take comp time or use it in the same week. And it just, I feel like the option of a little bit of overtime would be great, and that the council agreed and gave us that money. The only thing they didn't approve, and I didn't push it I asked for some extra money, about $6,000 in our seasonal budget, because of losing the caretaker and just, but I think we're gonna be fine on that. This year we were fine actually, so we had some people leave early and that kind of thing, so it worked out. But the other thing I could always do is transfer some money from non-reverting, which also kind of makes sense, since that caretaker position was for Smith Hall, and if we need a couple $1,000s extra in our seasonal part-time budget, we could use some of our revenue to make that up. I don't think we'd have enough to fund a full position, but we could make up, a couple $1,000s if we needed to. So, but otherwise, everything was approved as we requested it.
Okay, very good. Personnel committee?
No report.
Property committee?
No report from the property committee.
And planning committee?
Just that rolling prairie master plan update, I sent that out to the planning committee, and I'll get that out, make sure everybody gets that. And next meeting, Ann Tara will be here to present that to the board for acceptance and adoption, and then we'll add that to our master plan, which would then make it eligible for grants through the DNR and that kind of thing. So that's the whole purpose of doing this, is to get a good plan, a roadmap for that part, but also so that we can be eligible for some funds to help us do some of those things.
And that'll be December, right? There's no meeting in November?
No meeting in November.
Okay, December.
That plan looked really nice.
Yes, it
I was
did.
really impressed with what they did. They did a very good job. So, any other comments on the master plan? Okay, rules committee? Okay, and old business, I don't see anything under old business.
I had a question. Was on the disc golf, is there anything more on the disc?
Just, I'm working with Brandon still.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna work. He just sent me an email today about some things. He's tweaking a few things, and we've got some prices on the baskets. We've got, and then starting to get some prices on materials for the tee pads and stuff like that. So and the signs. Each hole has a sign and that kind of thing. So we're working towards it. But like I said, with Pioneer Days, now that that's over, we'll get moving on that a little better.
Have a little different focus.
Yep, and once we get some prices, we'll come and bring that back to the board, and then hopefully go for a grant, for some funds from maybe Health Foundation or somebody like that to help us pay for that.
Okay, new business, Lincoln Trail Extension Compliance Agreement.
So we had this, Mitch Bishop sent me, they were applying for some more money for the Lincoln Trail extension that's going down to PNW. It's, there's more costs, and I took a screenshot of what he had sent me so I can tell you why we're needing more money for this. Because this is for the grants that we already have to do that expansion down to PNW. And Mitch said, they're looking to try to get another 100,000 because CSX wants more money for their land than they estimated it would cost. There's another landowner or two that are taking it to the point of it's gonna probably cost more than the estimates for what the land value was. There's some retaining walls and boardwalks that are gonna cost more than was originally planned, and then also some construction costs. So they're applying for another 100,000, and what this was they needed a signature. It's called an assurance of compliance, and all it is a Civil Rights Act and a Rehabilitation Act, age discrimination. So it's stuff that saying we're not going to age discriminate, we're not going to prevent anybody from using the trails because of a race or anything like that. So they needed a signature on this right away because the grant was due last Tuesday or 2 Tuesdays ago. So I got with the executive committee, they signed it, but I wanted to bring this to you for an official approval so that we were good on that, so.
Okay, so can I have a motion to accept the assurance of compliance, the Civil Rights Act of 1964, Title 6, Rehabilitation Act of 1973, and Age Discrimination Act of 1975.
So moved.
And a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
It's approved.
Thank you.
Okay. Board and staff comments? And any guests that may want to comment again? Or now? Any comments? Hearing none, can I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
And a second? All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned until December.